So I'd like to welcome you to the new now high-end highness wow factor evolution. I am Majesty AliNICOLE. Wow. Thank you for joining me for this segment. In this segment, I want to speak about you being hardwired for high-end success and why it's important for you to know that. And typically when I would teach on this particular topic, I primarily would be speaking to empaths who have a very unique encoding, or highly sensitive individuals who have a very unique encoding, and they very much are hardwired for high-end success. Yet they don't actually play to that advantage and take the time to actually extract that encoding because they're so focused on preserving the old. But they're not the only ones who are hardwired, and I am an empath. They're not the only ones who are hardwired for high-end success. Most people are and have that encoding. Yet, with that lack of awareness, most people won't be able to move forward in that because they don't have that awareness. And so what they do in terms of trying to achieve high-end success is they start working hard. But the thing about when you're hardwired is that innate ability that you have to just awaken in a sense and start to unleash it. So it's not the hard work around doing the actions in terms of to make something happen for high-end success. See, that's the old model. And honestly, that model does not really work. Those frameworks really don't work for people. And the ones that you see that it is working for, a lot of them have built their success in other ways and then just trying to leverage that success to make it seem like, oh, this is how I built my success, a certain way. Or even some who have longevity in the game during the era when they were building their success. They're not working in the same era that you are to build yours up from the scratch, from ground up, so to speak. And so they're leveraging the branding from their previous successes. And are they still maximizing and highly monetizing that? Yes, but they're really monetizing um, the information that they're bringing forth that actually is not going to really work for you in terms of what they did and rinse and repeat this a certain way, and then kind of trying to modernize that, or bring some new level of innovation to it. But ultimately, that's really not going to work for you. And that's why there's such a disconnect in the marketplace, in terms of a great majority of people really being high figure earners a certain way. Of course, there's tons of them, but some of you are like, yeah, it may be, but I'm not one of those. Yeah, and there's a reason why. And let me tell you, it is not because, oh, you're not doing it right. Your stuff isn't good enough. Um, your brand is a certain way. No, no, that's not it at all. Now, for some, it could be, but the great majority, if you're listening to this, that's not why you aren't achieving your higher end success. Your thing is that you are not supposed to be doing it the traditional way. You can't flow from that stream. It simply will not work for you. Hear me when I say this. It won't. Most of you feel like, yeah, you're right, because it hasn't. Or if it does, it's kind of hit and miss. It's like a mirage in the desert. Um, there's the appearance of something emerging and everything that can quickly evaporate, so to speak. Or then when there are opportunities that come in, something about them feel disconnected, or they sort of dissipate, or it brings a little bit of money in for the moment, but never ultimately something that can really change the game, where it doesn't have you back in kind of the mindset of, oh, okay, I wonder, can I rinse and repeat this next month or the month after or so? Or how long am I going to be secure within this, experience? Will it carry me a certain way? You don't want to live your life. You don't want to live your experience that way. No. And so again, being in the new now, high end frequency, or the experience, which is going to be unique to you. And I'll actually link previous episode in the description where I talk about contrast that levels you up for consistent cash flow in the high-end space. And there's a process that I did, within there. And then I also include another one about going all in on your new high-end calling. I actually do a little hypnotherapy, high-end mindset shift, in there. It was kind of impromptu, which most of what I do is that anyway. It's just really guided. So so let me not digress too much here, but I believe that was relevant, at least for me to say this, so I can definitely put it in there. But yeah, so you not being in the new now high-end trajectory, so to speak, is where you can find your own unique individuality, your own unique expression. When you're not in that space, you're going to keep trying to do what is being shown out there. And I'm not saying that you should not integrate some of those. It's just that you cannot do it from that same place in which they are demonstrating, I should say. All right. So, in terms of during these times, being focused and understanding, wait a minute, I am hardwired for this. So if I'm hardwired for this, that means that that's my orientation, and I need to focus more on my orientation. What is this hardwired high end me like? What is that? I need to unleash that. And I'm sure there's various levels of it, but at least let me start unleashing one level of awakening and activating at least some basic stuff and getting some benefits from that. So and so it's not so much about doing mind techniques and all these different things, though that can play a part if you want to try to rewire yourself, which I do have even works around that, rewiring yourself for high end, the new high end advantage. But really, I wouldn't call it a rewiring. I just think that's just a leverage because it's more of a common popular term that most can relate to. But it's more of an extraction of something that's already there. It's not so much reprogramming, it's allowing that which exists to come forth. And then what happens is it overtakes the current mindset or framework. So it's much like when Jesus talks about, the wheat and the chaff, let it all come up together. Everything will be separated at the right time. So it's not so much of trying to fight against different beliefs or buck against different systems a certain way. It's like, no, allow and let the hard wiring just be fully activated. And then that programming will take over itself once you kind of give permission, and then you start moving in the direction, moving in activities that reflect you being hardwired for high end. All right. So that's kind of how that plays out instead of trying to have to do a lot of reconditioning and reframing and repositioning the mind. Is that, yeah, let the other stuff just be there. It can be there, but in the separation of new high-end consciousness, in a sense, yeah, you'll be able to make the distinctions in terms of, oh, okay, this part is no longer serving. This is the new now way. And that is what has to be, the leader, the chief primary leader that's governing, this experience. So I just wanted to share that because it's very important that that you have the awareness. You are hardwired. They say you're hardwired for success. Yeah, but what type of success specifically? That's a general vague statement in a sense, and it does apply for sure. We all are hardwired, and it could be. I don't think everybody is, so to speak. I think the potential is there. Um, and things can be developed and cultivated, which does indicate that there is something there. But I think that there are individuals who are specifically have that encoding. And when that encoding is decoded, and it can then recode your reality for riches, which is another one of my works. So yeah, so just know that you are hardwired for high-end success, but really you're hardwired for this new now high-end success. And you want to be in a position where you can reign in your royal authority, and yeah, be who you're supposed to be in this high-end space during this time. All right, so just wanted to provide that for you, food for thought and empowerment. And I certainly look forward to being back with you soon to share more on this evolutionary expansion and helping you bring forth your wow factor so that you can display before the marketplace what no eyes have seen, no ears have heard, because you're also hardwired for that as well. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to close out and just want you to take care and be blessed, and I'll be back with you soon.